Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will discuss the part 2 of my report, which is the types of instructional supervision. Since this is the continuation of part 1, so the objectives are the same. So it explore different types of instructional supervision, state the duties and responsibilities of the school heads as instructional supervisor, and apply the principles of instructional supervision. The first type of instructional supervision is the clinical supervision. Clinical supervision is a structured process where a more experienced practitioner supports and guides a less experienced colleague. This practice is common in professions such as in the field of education. Why is it important in education? Because of an effective clinical supervision, teachers are able to improve their teaching performance. Kung tayo ay magiging school head or department head or even master teacher, alalayan natin ng mga newly hired teachers. Naalala ko nung bago akong hire, ang dami nilang acronyms na hindi ko alam. Kasi nga, more than 12 years ako sa China nagturo, and then pagbalik ko rito, puro acronyms yung ginagamit nila. And ako naman, dahil bago, syempre, nahihiya ako magtanong. Pati yung pagbukas ng tubig sa school namin, nung bago ako, hindi ko rin siya alam na inaapakan lang pala yun kasi wala nga siyang gripo. So, for me, to know my way around, nag-observe na lang ako sa ginagawa nila. Kahit nga yung DLL noon, hindi ko alam ang meaning. Siguro, iniisip ng mga co-teachers ko dati, napaka-ignorante ko. Kasi nga, bago ako. So, para maiwasan yung mga ganitong scenario, so, as a school leader, so, i-guide natin yung ating mga colleagues, especially the new ones. So, what are the benefits of clinical supervision? Number 1 is accountability. Supervision ensures that the teachers are accountable for their work and adhere to professional standards. Next is improved practice. Regular supervision helps teachers to develop their skills and improve the quality of their work. And next is the support. Supervision provides a safe space for teachers to discuss challenges, seek advice, and receive support. Another benefits of clinical supervision is the personal growth. Teachers gain confidence and competence, leading to personal and professional growth. The second type of instructional supervision is the intensive guided supervision. Intensive guided supervision is a structured and focused form of supervision used when a teacher's competency is in question. It involves a more intensive and hands-on approach to support and improve the teacher's performance. Intensive guided supervision is a rigorous and supportive process kung saan tinutulungan natin ang mga teachers, especially the struggled ones, to enhance their professional practice and meet educational standards of DepEd para ang ating mga teachers or newly hired teachers ay hindi mag-struggle. Let us practice intensive guided supervision kung tayo ay magiging department heads, master teacher, or even the school head. There are 5 key components of intensive guided supervision. So, what are those? First, we have the pre-visit planning. So, the supervisor and the teachers collaboratively identify specific areas of concern and set clear goals for improvement. So, dapat malaman ni teacher at ni supervisor kung ano-ano yung mga issue na dapat pagtuunan ng pansin at para magkaroon ng malinaw na layunin para sa ikagagaling ng ating mga teachers at ma-achieve din natin ang ating quality education. Next is the observation. So, as a supervisor, dapat pong mag-observe or obserbahan ng mga teachers para malaman kung effective ba ang teaching strategy ng ating mga kaguruan. Thumbs up nga po kung na-observe na po kayo ng inyong mga school heads without any notification. Yung bigla-bigla na lang siyang susulpot sa inyong mga classroom. So, pagka ganun po, huwag po kayong magagalit sa mga master teacher or your school head kapag nag-observe po sila ng inyong klase kasi it's a part of their job. Okay, the third one is the post-observation analysis. So, syempre, kung may pre, may post. After observation, don't stop there. So, wag tayong i-stop sa observation. As a supervisor or school head, you should sit with your teacher and discuss the teacher's strength based doon sa naobserbahan nyo and also discuss the areas that needs to improve. Ayan. So, the fourth one is the post-visit conference. This is a formal meeting to review the observation results. Provide constructive feedback at ito din ang right time para mag-provide ng action plan with timelines. And the last one is the follow-up. Minsan ito hindi na to nagagawa. So, as a supervisor, we should follow up after we do the key components of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so don't stop with evaluation. Have a regular follow-up sessions para ma-monitor natin yung mga teachers natin or yung kanilang progress and provide continuous support. At kung may action plan tayong nagawa during post-visit conference, dito sa follow-up, ay meron dapat tayong mga adjustments na gagawin to improve the plan. So, this link is about the video of collaboration. Ayan, you can click the link or search in YouTube. So, what is collaboration supervision? It involves overseeing and facilitating the cooperative efforts of educators, students, and sometimes even parents to enhance learning outcomes. This can be applied in various contexts such as within a classroom, across different grade levels, or among multiple schools. Ito po yung ating effort at pakikipagtulungan sa ating mga stakeholders like our colleagues, teachers, students, parents, or guardian, and even within our community or our government officials. In collaboration, we have key aspects. So, number 1, we have the community involvement. So, sa community involvement, lalo na po sa ating mga barangay kung saan po sila po ang unang-una nating pwedeng lapitan kapag kailangan po natin ng tulong. Ayan po. So, example po, we had a competition 2 weeks ago and we need to go to another school. So, since we have limited budget, so we ask help from our barangay. So, yung sasakyan ng barangay ang ginamit namin. So, para hindi na gumastos ng pamasahe yung mga students. Ayan. So, especially if your school has a very limited resources, so pwede tayong humingi ng tulong sa barangay. So, kami nagpahatid sundo kami dun sa sasakyan ng barangay. Aside from that, we create partnerships with local organizations para masuportahan tayo sa ating mga activities. Not only community involvement, meron din po tayong parent involvement. Isama na po natin ang parent or guardian, lalo na po ang ating mga SPTA officers na binubuo ng mga parents. Malaki ang maitutulong ng SPTA sa ating schools, especially sa manpower. As a school leader, we can initiate to do projects and collaborate with SPTA. Sa mga schools nyo po, ano po kaya yung mga ginagawa ng mga school nyo or ng mga SPTA officers para sa pag-unlad ng inyong paaralan? Ayan, ang gandang tanong, 'di ba? So, it's a sharing time. Okay, after the parent involvement, of course, there's a teacher collaboration. As a school leader, encourage the teachers to work together on lesson planning, sharing resources, and even developing interdisciplinary projects and collaborative teaching methods. Example po nito ay ang team teaching. So, sa school niyo po ba ay pinapractice pa ang team teaching? Ayan. And the last one is the student collaboration. So, as a school leader, we promote group work and peer learning activities, supporting project-based learning where students collaborate to solve real-world problems. So, meron ba kayong mga ginagawang activities for this student collaboration? Ayan, share nyo naman or comment down below. Next type of instructional supervision is the peer supervision. It is a practice where teachers collaborate and support each other to enhance their teaching skills and professional development. This approach is particularly valuable in a context where resources and traditional supervision opportunities might be limited. This type of supervision can also foster the culture of collaboration to support each other's professional development and improve teaching practices. So, as a peer supervisor, we designated teacher that can facilitate peer supervision. Hindi po natin kakayanin ang lahat ng gawain kung tayo lang ang kikilos. So, being an instructional leader, pwede po tayong mag-appoint ng teacher na pwedeng mag-organize ng meetings, and this is what we call peer supervision or supervisor. At pwede din pong rotation. In our school, kapag nawawala ang aming principal due to seminars and trainings, may tinatalaga siyang OIC bukod pa sa focal person namin. So, to supervise the teachers and the school as a whole. At the same time, may katuwang si focal person. So, ganun po yung mga nangyayari sa amin, sa aming paaralan. So, sa mga big schools, may mga head teachers na sila na pwede na ring mag-conduct ng meetings and observations sa mga teachers in their department. And ang mga common practices ng peer instructions are regular meetings, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly. And last but not the least is the self-directed supervision. Self-directed is a process where individuals take responsibility for their own professional development and self-evaluation. This approach emphasizes autonomy and self-regulation, allowing professionals to monitor and improve their own practice without relying heavily on external supervision. So what does it mean? So self-directed supervision empowers us leaders to take control of our professional development. So this type of supervision encourages continuous learning, self-awareness, and personal growth that will lead us to be more effective and fulfilled professionals. Kasi maraming mga leaders na nasa higher position na and they stop learning. They don't want to study anymore. So, learning is a continuous process. So, even you will be in the highest position. So, don't stop learning. According to someone or anonymous, the ability to learn is the most important quality an instructional supervisor can have. Guys, what's the word? So, look at this picture. So, ano yung sinisimbolo ng mga pictures na ito? So, these pictures symbolize standards. Ayan, they are the symbol of standards. So, as a leader, look up for standards and hopefully our teachers will be at par with the standards we have here. Before I end up my report, I just want to leave this Bible verse from Proverbs chapter 11 verse 14, Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Where there is no guidance, a people falls. This part suggests that without proper direction, leadership, or advice, a community or an organization or group is likely to fail or suffer. It highlights the dangers of going without insight or guidance. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. So this part implies that having many advisors or sources of wisdom leads to better decision making and security. The collective knowledge and diverse perspectives of multiple counselors help ensure more stable and successful outcomes. So, dito po sa Bible verse na to, binibigyang pansin yung kahalagahan ng paghingi ng advice sa iba't ibang trusted leaders or sources para maiwasan yung pagbagsak at ma-achieve yung success. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and please comment and subscribe. Thank you.